Well, here we are. It is Tuesday, April 21st. And today I want to mention a sale. If you're into Japanese things, there's some Chinese things in the sale as well. But if you're into Japanese things, there's a very good sale coming up on the 26th out in Missouri at Soulis Auctions. This is the sale. Where's the, I want to get the address information here. Hold on a second. Soulis Auctions, Lone Jack, Missouri. And the sale is on the 26th of this month. And it's the collection of a very well-known Japanese art dealer who's an American fellow, but he was in Japan in the 70s, and he opened a gallery. His name was John Adair. And a friend of mine in New York called me the other day and said, have you seen this sale of Japanese stuff? He was excited because he'd never seen so many fireman's jackets, Japanese fireman's jackets. And if you don't know what one of those is, we'll get to that in a minute. But at any rate, this is the sale. It's a lifelong collection. He also had some very nice Persian rugs in the sale. If you're a Persian rug guy, you want to check out those. Well, we'll try to touch base on them toward the end. But this is the sale. Very fine quality stuff. There's a bit of ceramics. There are not a lot of bronzes and okimono and all that business in here. There's some very interesting and unusual prints. There's some exceptionally good-looking pieces of furniture and tansus and stuff. If you've never seen a tansu that knocks you out, you're going to see one in a little bit here. We get to it, and also lots of Ikebana baskets in the Ikebana tradition. Some of them are signed by the makers and so forth. They're very desirable to collectors, and this is just some of it. There is some porcelain. There's also some non-bond porcelain in here. But I want to start with the fireman's jackets. These are terrific. And if you don't know about Japanese fireman's jackets, the firemen brigades in Japan were divided up by sort of social strata. The samurai were one group that certain members of them could be firemen. In the general public, there was a hierarchy depending on your status, and you would join a fire squad in your area. And if you were well off, these are not the jackets worn by very many common people. You got very elaborate jackets to wear to fight fires in. Now, how these were made was that they were made fairly thick, layers and layers and layers of fabric. And they would decorate the outsides of them when they were being worn in parades and out in that sort of environment, or before they got into the fire. Once they got to the fire, the jackets were reversible so that all of this beautiful artwork would be on the inside. And the outside of it was this soft, lots of soft cotton and layers of absorbent fabric. And they would soak these guys, the firemen, with water and wet these silk jackets down so they wouldn't burn when they went in to fight the fire. And how they fought fires was, it's a very strange thing. They didn't have really great water pumps that could pump hundreds of gallons of water a minute the way they do today. So what did they do? They did the opposite. They tore down surrounding houses. If a house caught fire in the middle of a block with a bunch of houses up against it, Japanese houses are predominantly made out of wood and paper. Doesn't take much to burn them down. So what they would do is, to prevent this from spreading and wiping out an entire city, which could happen and did happen in Japan from time to time, they would knock down all of the adjoining houses and get rid of them. They would sacrifice maybe 5 or 10 houses to preserve the city from being destroyed and preventing loss of life, because these fires, when these wooden houses in Japan caught fire, they caught fire so quickly, they created almost windstorms. It was very hot, phenomenally hot, and people just died from the heat. If you just imagine a lumberyard fire, that's basically what you'd have. So these guys would wear these jackets, and the best ones had lots of color in them, for example. This one has a lot of color in it. I think there's 8 or 9 colors in it. It's got an immortal up on top here, sitting on top of a 3-legged toad. It's beautifully done, and it's in wonderful condition. Let's see, how old is this one? It's probably late Edo period, I guess. They're just calling it 19th century. And it measures 10 by 48 inches. It's got an estimate of $2,000 to $4,000 with a $1,200. Well, it's right now it's up to $1,200. And it's got one bid. It must have opened at that. But again, a wonderful jacket. And there are a number of them in here. And if you've heard about fireman's jackets before and you want to take a look at them, there's some good examples in this auction. I would suggest you save the images, because there are some very good ones in here. There are websites out there that explain much more about the culture of the firemen in Japanese history. It's a very interesting niche because it's in many ways just so counter to how fires are fought everywhere else. But it was a practical method to save cities from being burned down and massive loss of life being prevented. So they had to give up a few houses. All right. Also in the sale, as I mentioned, are these very nice Ikebana baskets. Now, Ikebana, as you know, or you may not know, I don't know. Ikebana are not baskets. Ikebana is the art of flower arranging, and they made baskets, among other things, to put the flowers in. And flower arranging in Japan and China are, of course, very big cultural things. And the Japanese really got into flower arranging during the Heian period, and it grew and grew and grew in popularity. It became more popular after Buddhism came in, and during the 6th century, when Buddhism came in, flower arranging became very much integrated into Buddhism for the symbolic reasons and the admiration of beauty and nature and all the other stuff that goes with it. And there's also a tie to Shintoism with flower arranging. And eventually they began, because the basket weaving has always been a tradition in Japan, they began weaving baskets, very attractive baskets, to put the flowers in. And this is a rather lovely one. And here you have looks like a bamboo liner that would go inside of it. They put liners in these so they could put water in and protect the basket from the water while while it's bearing flowers. This one is signed. It's beautifully done. And this Gangansai was a very famous basket weaver in Japan during the early 20th century. He was a traditionalist. And if you look up his work, you'll find other examples of a very similar form to this. This was sort of one of his most popular shapes and forms. But if you've never appreciated these incredibly fine baskets, they are sculptures. In the end, this is what they amount to. They're made from bamboo and reeds and so forth, whatever's the right size, basically. But you'll notice things like this extremely finely braided loop handle here. All right, that is all woven, and then they would lacquer it, and you end up with this very, very attractive surface. And then up at the top here, you have much more work, very detailed, beautifully done, and you should really appreciate the work of these. These are really exceptional. And here's another one. Now, this is a more common type. This is a well-known form. It's got big, broad bamboo leaves bent onto it. And there's a whole art to how you bend them and how you preserve them and how you lacquer them and treat them and so forth and stain them. And then there's a very nice rope handle on the top. And this is not a terribly expensive basket. It doesn't have a box. And it's $200 to $400 with a $100 opening bid. It's got 18 people watching it, so there are people who love these. And this would be a good starter basket, I suppose, for someone. And there's several of them in there, several in this sale that are not in the thousands of dollars. They're in the $100 to $300 range or the $400 to $600 range, but they're quite lovely. They're really, I urge people to learn about them. And then there's this one by Wada Waichisai. I think is the proper way to pronounce it. The third, he came from a long line of basket makers. His grandfather was the first, and he was very well known, highly regarded artist. And his grandson here got into it in the early Taisho period. Began producing some extremely attractive baskets, and this is one of them. And it has an absolutely great look to it. It's very almost Art Deco looking, and here it is. It's got its bamboo liner. Sometimes they're copper, sometimes they're bamboo. This is a bamboo liner, and there's a signed box. It has its box, and that's one of the things that makes these valuable, signed and boxed, always, okay? It's the same thing with Japanese pottery. If you have a Hamada piece and you have a box, the original box for it, it makes a giant influence on the value because it's the complete package. This is the complete package. Also, the basket is good size. It measures, 16 and a half inches in height. I thought 17 around there. And it looks to be in great condition. $1,000 to $2,000 estimate and a $500 opening bid. All right. And then hopping along to these. There are several woodblock Sugoroku board games. And these were things that were produced just like it sounds, like a Parcheesi board or a Monopoly board or something else. They played games on these, and they were printed by very good printmakers. And these are fairly large. This thing measures, I believe, about 27 by 27. It was made by Utagawa Hiroshige around 1750. 27 by 28 and a quarter inches. These are large prints. And then when you add the frame and add the rest of it on, it's 34 by 35 inches roughly. All right. So this is a fairly large work of art. It would take up a nice space on your wall. It has very good colors, and the condition of it looked to be quite good. I don't see any stains or damage onto it. It's got the name of the game and all this at the top, and you have all the roads and all the markers along the roads. And, it's not too different than lots of Western games of that era in the early 20th century. It's estimated at $1,000 to $2,000 with a $500 opening bid. I think that estimate's a bargain for one of these, because you do not see these board games turning up very often. They hardly ever turn up in America. They mostly stayed in Japan. They were not exported a lot. They were occasionally exported, but if you've been collecting Japanese woodblock prints for any length of time, you'll be the first one to say, yeah, you don't see the board games in America, or even in Europe. You just don't see them. They stay in Japan, and they got worn out. People were moving pieces around them. They were playing with them, and once they got worn out, they threw them away. And here's another one, and this one is by, they're all by famous artists. This one's by Udagata Sadahide, and this is also a 19th century example. They're dating at 1850 to 1865. Around the same age as the Hiroshige, $1,000 to $2,000 estimate, and again, large, 27 and a quarter by 27 and a quarter. It's perfectly square, plus the frame, but it's a beautiful thing, good color. These are really interesting things to have hanging around your house, especially if you have kids. Because you could teach them about games and game boards, and it's a learning tool, and it's something they can appreciate visually because it's interesting, because it's a game. Just tell them to leave it on the wall and not take it down. And well, if you can afford it, let them play with it. And then over to this, the Japanese porcelain. There are a number of lots of Japanese porcelain. Most of it is late Edo to Meiji and Taisho eras. But this is one lot, and lots of familiar faces in here for many of you. There's some tea caddies in the back that even look maybe more around that looks like it's from around 1950. I'd have to see more of it because it looks like it was made very much in the Western style. But there's other pieces that look totally Japanese market. These beautiful cups here and so forth. You got one over here with a dragon over the wall, almost like an over-the-wall bowl with a serpent coming in. Estimated the whole lot, $200 to $400 with a $100 opening bid. How can you go wrong for that? And there's also these non-bond objects, non-bond porcelains. They appear to be mostly Edo to Meiji period. And non-bond, as you know, is the Japanese word for some people say it's the dirty foreigners or the barbarians, as they referred to, and they generally referred to the Portuguese who were there, and the name came into usage during the 16th and 17th century. There were non-bond screens around. If you've been to museums, they always seem to have a non-bond screen because they're very attractive. They're extremely beautiful, and they depict, Portuguese ships in the harbors and Portuguese traders on the shore dealing with Japanese merchants and this sort of thing. And they printed these. They produced these bowls during the period, but many of them were done during the late Edo and Meiji period. And here you have the ship, and it's the same ship you see on the screens, basically, the same style of ship. And you have the Portuguese trader standing on the deck here, and so forth. There's the bottom of it. It looks like a Meiji period bowl to me. $600 to $800 with a $300 opening bid. There's three of them in here. All of them are around 9 inches in diameter. And then over to this. This is probably the oldest porcelain in the sale, I think. It's an Arita dish with a celadon rim, nice underglazed blue decoration. Those of you who collect Japanese Arita have seen this pattern before. It's a very popular pattern. It's got a box with it with a bunch of script on it, and it's not the potter's box. In the back of it, of course, will have a Chunmar mark. I said that, now I'm not sure. Yeah, of course it does. There it is. Chunmar mark, all the little spurs. And the Chunmar mark is, of course, Chinese Ming Dynasty. But when they began reproducing Chinese porcelains in Japan, they took up the tradition of copying everything, including the rain mark. So there you go. It's very modestly estimated, $200 to $300 with a $100 opening bid. It's probably about, what is it, about 9 inches, 10 inches, 10 and 3/4 inches. So it's almost a charger. It's a pretty good sized plate, $200 to $300. And then hopping over to this is that piece of furniture I was talking about. This is, I think, one of the nicest looking Tansus I've ever seen. And it came from the city of Sendai, Japan. It was made around 1850. Exceptionally beautiful hardware on it, exceptionally pretty warm honey wood. You see areas of wear around the edges and so forth. This chest got used, and it's a pretty big chest. It's almost 5 feet long, 60 inches wide, and around 20 odd inches deep, and about 42 inches high. So it's a full chest size cabinet, and these are very good. They're very handy. This is the thing. If you know anybody that's ever lived with a Tansu, they love it because it's got lots of drawers to store things, and they make terrific bureaus for a bedroom, and they also make terrific cabinets for hallways or at the end of a living room. They're just beautiful. And if this was closer, I'd probably try to buy it. Notice the hardware. It's all incised, decorated, all right, with birds and dragons and one thing and another. Very nice looking hardware, beautiful wood grain, and the estimate is $2,000 to $3,000 with a $1,000 opening bid. It's got a bid on it already. I'm not surprised, but it's a heck of a nice piece of furniture. Absolutely great. I just love the look of it. It's very almost like Art Deco modern in its appearance. It's very attractive. And there's also this very nice box. Same feeling as that. The Tansu. Smaller, of course. This thing is around 20 inches long, as I recall. Let me get the dimensions. 21 inches long, 10 inches high, and 10 inches deep, and 12 inches high, I guess is what it is. 10 by 21 by 12. But it's a beautiful piece, and again, it's got a very, very pleasing wood color. The wood has that very warm honey brown color. It looks like almost like, look at the ends of it here. It's got a beautiful finish on it too, but it's got a very buttery texture to the wood. It's very attractive, and the hardware looks excellent on it. $100 opening bid, $200 to $300 is the estimate. I think that estimate is low. I'd be kind of surprised if I went for that. To my mind, this should be bringing at least $500 to $700. It's an excellent looking cabinet, really is. And then over to this. This is the other one. This is the merchant's chest on iron wheels. It's got all these wonderful locks in it. Looks like it's a late Edo to Meiji period example. Beautifully done. Lots of the ironwork really makes it on this thing. Gives it a real strong appearance. And it's estimated at around $600 to $800, $300 opening bid. And it's not as big as that other piece. It is 30 inches by 35 by 19. So it's pretty good size, though. It's almost 3 feet high, but it's very handsome, very striking, nice construction. It's got a very architectural look to it. And then over to this is something I like a lot. This is the Daruma figure, and it's a big one. And it's Meiji or Edo period, or Edo to Meiji period. It looks like it's mid-19th century, the first half of the 19th century. The carving quality is outstanding on it. This is a wonderful statue. Really, really is. And it's not 6 to 8 inches tall. Most of these figures that you see from in this manner in particular, the Daruma figures, are generally fairly small. They're not terribly big. This one is big. I believe it's 16 inches, right? 14 inches and 6 inches deep. Or 6 inches wide. So this is a 1 foot 2 inches tall. This is a fairly good size carving. It's probably got a little heft to it. $200 to $300 or $200 to $400 estimate with $110 currently bid on it. I think it'll do better than that. It's got a very nice undisturbed surface. One of the things you want to look for always with wooden objects is the surface. Is the surface disturbed? Has it been sanded? Has it been refinished? And this one here, you'll notice there's lots of dirt and grime in the creases. There's no places that look like they've ever been touched. It's just layer upon layer of patina on this piece. I think it's very, very attractive. And I just love that thing. That's all. And then hopping along over to this is the last. Well, we're going to look at some rugs just quickly at the end here, but this is an interesting map, and it's done by Isaac Tirion, and he was a Dutch print company. I believe they're in Amsterdam, and this appears to be a second strike of this map. It's a very famous map that he did. He did lots of cartography, and he did buildings and architectural things. He published them. He was a very entrepreneurial guy. He had a printing press, and he produced this map. And my understanding is that with the square frame up here in the upper left, these are generally considered to be second strikes, which means it was done probably in the 1740s. It's not like it was done in 1920, because the originals had round, had circular map identifier here. So this would have been round instead of with these invected corners and a square. But these still sell for good money. These are pretty good. This particular type of map of Japan, and it's neat because it's got all the provinces all marked out. It's very, very detailed. It's extremely detailed. Shows you where the mountains are and all that stuff. If you've been looking for a wonderful map of Japan, this is it. And it'll probably sell for around $350 to $450, something like that, I would expect. But it is in very, very good condition. I don't know if it's framed or not. Yes, it is framed. Oh, it's all ready to hang. That's a nice frame. John Adair had good taste. Good taste in frames. The frame doesn't overpower anything. It's elegant, beautifully done. Nice map of Japan. And the other thing, before I go, is if you come over here, because the carpets are on the tail end of this thing. Tail end of the sale, as I recall. There's brush pots. There's all kinds. You need to come over and look through the sale. Okay, you just have to do that. That's the best way to do it. Oh no, the rug sale is the day before. Hold on a second. This is a 2-day sale. You know, a lot of stuff. Hold on. Modern art here. Okay, there are the rugs. Here they all are. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of interesting carpets in here. There's a particularly nice, if you like Central Persian rugs, there's a particularly nice Kemsa. There's also some very good Caucasian prayer rugs in this sale. And then you have this nice Akstafa rug, late 19th century. And then more Caucasians. Not many Turkoman things. Lots of Kazakhs, lots of Mohans and all of that business, Shervans. And then I think on the next page is the Kemsa rug. There's this very nice Fakralo Kazakh right here. Quite attractive, nice colors. You'll see there's a lot of prayer rugs in here. This is a pretty rare prayer rug, incidentally. If you've been looking for a very unusual prayer rug, this is a good one. It's got an inscription on it. Very nice yellow ground, mustard yellow ground. It's very, very attractive. The colors all look good. It looks complete. I don't see any tears or breaks in it. It certainly appears to be a late 19th century rug, estimated at $1,800 to $2,400. That's a nice carpet. It's a very interesting carpet, very attractive. Lots of more Caucasian rugs. And when you get down to the end of it, there's a Scylla over here. That's a flat weave. You have you can see this very nice. Well, it's a very interesting Kuba prayer rug. It's a kilim, but wonderfully done. You don't see many kilim prayer rugs. This is a good one, and estimated at $400 to $600. But he also had this rug here. I thought this was really attractive. If it opens all right, there it is. This very nice Southwest Persian Kemsa. Very finely done. It's got the bird motifs, the chickens all over it, and all the Buddhas here. All right, the hand of Buddha, the Buddha print, as some people call it. The hand of Buddha. All right, it's got a hole here. You have to get that fixed, but it's a very nice rug. It's a beautiful rug with good colors. 19th century. There's the back of it. That looks fine for 19th century to me. And it measures, it's a fairly good sized rug probably, 79 by 49 inches. So it's about 6 feet by 4 by 6 feet roughly. It's a decent sized rug. And then you have this one here, nice looking Afshar. with the pole medallions going up in the middle and with blue backgrounds and white backgrounds. Nice warm colors in a fairly broad outer inner border here. You'll notice right here, this border here is a bit oversized. I thought that was quite attractive how they did it. And then you have the running chickens going around the outside. Very nice carpet. Late 19th century. How big is this now? This is 53 by 70 inches. So again, about a little over 4 feet to 6 feet. $300 to $500 with a $150 bid. Starting bid. Great looking rug. There's other stuff in here. Do check it out. I probably went a little longer than I planned. I always find things when I'm on here looking. But that's a nice sale. This sale with the rugs is on the 25th. It's the day before the Japanese stuff. It's the day before, the 25th at Soulis out in Missouri, right here. Bookmark it. Set it aside. Get a hold of them. Get your condition reports. Register on their website if you want and bid, and go from there. All right, so check it out. Thanks for watching. I'll be back later this week with more, whatever comes along. And thanks so much for being here. Subscribe. YouTube says I don't, recently somebody said I should ask people to subscribe more. So subscribe. And what else? Leave a comment. Give us a thumbs up. I don't know, whatever. Do what you want to do. All right. Thanks for watching, as always. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.